The following program is brought to you by Podcast One Sportsnet.
New York, you know you're number one. So this holiday season, give your loved ones the best. Verizon Unlimited with 4 lines for $40 per line per month. When you've got New York's #1 network, there's nothing you can't do. Share unlimited photos and videos, send unlimited texts, and make unlimited calls with mobile hotspot and 4G LTE data in all 5 boroughs. Enjoy the best unlimited for a great price, because this first-class city doesn't do second-rate gifts. New York, give your friends and family the best. Verizon Unlimited.
Direct from the heart of Lakers Nation, Podcast One Sportsnet brings you America's Lakers Podcast with Jay Mohr, the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers. Get the inside scoop without the gossip about your favorite team that lives up to the purple and gold standard. Here's your host, Jay Mohr.
America's Lakers Podcast. We're laughing already. I'm Jay Mohr.
We are.
Aaron Larsoul. Of course, Pete Zayas joining us, and I'm excited about it. Hi, Pete.
Hi, Jay. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Wasn't that nice? We get to say hi to each other, not on
Very cordial.
Right off the bat.
Information Superhighway.
Yes.
Corey Fry on the Wheels of Steel. Fry 42. You got any technical issues, which you don't? I don't think I've seen one.
No, there haven't been any yet, I don't think.
Damn More Stories podcast. Like, how come I hear crickets? Because we're outside. How come I hear church bells? Ever think of that? I'll make church bells happen and make that joke work.
This is nothing passes by America's Lakers Podcast.
No. Live from the underground. This is the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers. At Aaron Larsoul, at JMoore37, at Laker, singular, at Laker Film Room, and of course on YouTube, youtube.com/Laker Film Room. Pete Zayas, Aaron said something off air that I knew, and I know you know. I don't know if the viewers or listeners know this.
Both.
If you can see this right now, pass it around. To break down, how long was the video after the 76ers win?
11, 12 minutes, something like that.
So let's just say a nice 12, even 12. Let's say it's 10 minutes even. How long, because Aaron, I think you're spot on, and I just know from editing television and documentaries about it gets sold for $4 and a Subway token and a bucket of the Colonel's chicken, shrimp in a boat.
He's a genius. He's really good. And the movie's really good.
How long did that take you to make 10 minutes of exceptional film room tape?
It's about 10 hours after I watch the game. So I'll watch the game initially as a fan, and then as soon as the game's over, I'll start it over from the beginning. And at that point, I kind of have my 4 or 5 topics that I want to hit, and then from there I'll make my shot sheet, and then get my video, chop it up, and sort it. And then in that process of sorting it, then patterns start to emerge, and things that maybe I didn't catch the first time watching start to be like, oh, that's why Luke did this here, or that's why Clarkson was dominating against the Hornets the other night. Things like that start to show up, and then I tell that story.
Is there a Laker that would not have dominated against the Hornets? Zoe.
Well, yeah, he didn't.
No, he
but
did good though early.
He was, well, what's funny, and Pete, you can chime in on this, but JJ and I have been talking on this podcast a lot about everybody. We get caught up in the results a lot, whether shots go in or out. That's important, but process, as we talk about with Philly, the process, but the process is important. And when Zoe is aggressive, as he was at the beginning of the Charlotte game, that's meaningful. So when you, at the beginning of games, are you looking for, when you watch games so that you're going to break down film, are you watching for results? Are you watching, specifically with Lonzo, are you watching for kind of the process, or are you watching for the results?
I'm watching more so for the process. There are certain things that he does that I think catalyzes the rest of his game. Like,
what does that mean, process? Because I think to the layman, we don't know what process means. We want to know if you're winning or losing. So when you're looking for the process, explain that.
When it comes to Lonzo, there's a certain energy level that I think you can pick up whether you're a new fan or been watching for your whole life, where when Lonzo is flying up and down the court, he is kind of catalyzing the energy of the team. He's collapsing the defense and kicking the ball out to an open shooter as a result of that. When he gets a defensive rebound, that's the thing I really look for with him, is he crashing the defensive glass. Because if he does that, the rest of his game, he has an impact. If not, he can disappear for ages.
So we have to... The question that everybody continuously asks, we have to ask it so that we get you on record. Are you worried about Lonzo period, stop, one question. Question A, are you worried about Lonzo, period? Question 2 or question B, are you worried about the shot?
I am not worried about Lonzo, period, because I think outside of the scoring, now that's a big thing, but outside of the scoring, he's really good, not just for a 20-year-old point guard, and that always has to be contextualized. But
Lonzo Ball is a point guard, Aaron?
He is dumb guy.
Oh, okay. New character, dumb
guy. He's got one of the best assist to turnover ratios in the league.
He does?
Right away. One of the best rebounders right away.
Him and Iguodala, yeah.
He's been fantastic on the defensive end, which I was not expecting from watching him on tape in college.
His hands especially. The
really
feet need some work, but the hands, yes.
The instincts, right? He's got everything else, right? But the scoring is important. As for the shot, I'm a little worried. So I go to Lakers practice every day when they're in town. And so to his credit, he stays late after every practice and is getting shots up. And I'm able to see some things in person that I'm not able to see on TV. A couple of ways, like the way he catches, the way that he catches the ball.
Yeah.
He doesn't catch the ball very cleanly. So you'll see on TV, sometimes he'll like hesitate before he gets into a shot. I thought that was a footwork thing. It's actually him on the catch. So there are all these little details that he needs to get better.
Last follow up on that.
Well,
yeah, go ahead, JJ.
So on the catch, is that what you think is responsible for? Was it turnovers? You said
no. The jump shot is the difficulty he's having with his jumper.
But he gets it where he wants it. That's everybody else's job. We all I know where you want it. If I play with you,
sure. That is the
where I want it is the guy behind me. Just sail it over my head. You don't want me shooting.
It's the responsibility of the passer to find the recipient of the pass.
It's not the passer's fault. It's something. I think it's part of where his shooting stroke and his funky stroke is a detriment to him. When he catches the ball on his right hand side, he has to bring it back over to his left, and in doing that, he has to adjust his hand on the ball. This is something I can see from 10 feet away that I can't see on TV. Right?
Oh, I see that now. So where he catches it has a big effect. Okay.
And if he catches the ball on the right hand side of his body, that's kind of an awkward way to catch a ball,
on the left
right?
Side.
On his left-hand side of the body. That's an awkward way of catching the ball. So sometimes he bobbles that. He bobbles that more than on the right.
But when he catches it on his left, it's more of a natural motion for him to get into his jumper because his jumper sweeps from right to left.
Exactly. So if he catches that clean, he's good. But he catches fewer of those clean.
So the follow-up. So the follow-up to that is if you are worried about him as a shooter and by extrapolation, therefore worried about him as a scorer, does that create a ceiling for how good can an NBA point guard be if he's not he doesn't scare people as a scorer?
Yeah, no, you're right on the money. That absolutely puts a cap on who he is. Maybe like a Rondo
right
type
on the money.
Hey, can you just let me be right here? Can you just let me be right?
Right, how? You asked a question.
How about this? How about this, Pete? I think he
my co-host more than me. Pete,
I brought him a beer, right?
He did
Pete,
bring me a beer.
How are you feeling today? You're absolutely right, JJ.
Yes.
So if all right, so watch. I'm going to make this a question, JJ. If you are worried about him as a scorer long term, it doesn't mean the die is cast. It doesn't mean you are calling him a failure, a bust, or anything like that. But if you are worried about him as a shooter and as a scorer long term, then what do you think his ceiling is? How great can you be as a point guard if you're not an effective shooter and a scorer?
You remember Prime Rondo? What he looked like?
I do.
That was a pretty good player.
What did he look like? A gargoyle.
Yeah, he does.
Anyway, gang.
What did he look like? A funny looking dude.
But he could ball.
Yeah,
he could play, right?
But he needed a lot of talent around him.
He did, and so that's, I think, the ceiling. That's what, a top 20 player in the league.
What do you think of the comparisons? Well, especially now that he's struggling. What do you think of the comparisons? We do that. No, not we. I do that every week. What do you think of the comparisons to Ricky Rubio?
I think it's fair to some extent. Rubio's never been the rebounder that Lonzo is. Lonzo's second on the team in boards right now, and I think he's going to be a 7 or 8. Plus type of guy. And I do think that matters because he's able to transition from the defensive end by getting that rebound and then it's moved right ahead. So Rubio doesn't do that. But aside from that, I can see some of the comparisons there. By the same token, he just turned 20. And I don't trip about 20-year-old point guards to that extent.
Rubio last year I thought would have been a phenomenal addition to the Lakers if he could agree to be off the bench. And let's not call it the second unit. It's the bench.
Right.
That's why there's a problem. Aaron Larsoul, Pete joining us from Laker Film Room on Twitter. You definitely want to follow that, and you want to comment on all of his breakdowns because they take years per quarter.
Yes, as you said, it's a labor of love for him.
That is a labor of love. YouTube.com/Laker Film Room.
So Pete, one of the things that I've been kind of fascinated by, and it's not just the Lakers. The Lakers are a great example of this, but there's other teams in the NBA. The Blazers, who, as we record this, are playing tonight against the Warriors, and the Thunder, who tonight lost to the Charlotte Hornets. I'm fascinated, include the Lakers, I'm fascinated by those three teams because they are so much different than what we expected. At least what I expected. I expected all three of them to be really good offensive teams and struggle defensively. I thought the Lakers would be great offensively and not be so good. And the reverse has been true for all three of them. Two-part question again. Why do you think the Lakers have been so much better than we anticipated defensively and so much worse than we anticipated offensively?
Can I guess his answer?
Please.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
I like Pope. I like KCP, but I'd actually put Julius Randle's improvement ahead of that. I think he's been a guy that...
Tell me more.
He's been a guy that he's always had the ability, right? He's got some of the best feet from a big man in the NBA. He's got good lateral quickness, but his ability to switch on the second unit and on the guards... as of the other day, he was one of the best defenders in the league on those switches, right? And his ability to do that he's always been capable of it, but between the conditioning and then the light switch just came on, right? It said, hey, I'm playing for my contract and I'm going to get after it. And he's done that. KCP.
Did that happen this summer? I mean, because I don't remember him being a particularly good defender.
He was awful. He was awful last year.
Or is that like a Laker fan?
No. He was like, for example, last year on his closeouts, he was in like the 6th percentile in the NBA on his closeouts. And there were so many times where I'd be watching tape, he'd be hanging out in the paint, and Frank Kaminsky would be dropping bombs like totally unguarded.
Come on, man.
And
so that's a lot to ask a dude, which I don't think they asked him, considering the way he's been played and rotated this year. We'll get to rotations in a second. But for him to come in and suddenly get defense, get rotations, to put him on an island with Embiid, and you know darn well Pete Zayas, Laker Film Room on Twitter and on YouTube, and Aaron, you put him on an island with Embiid, every guy in the league is going to get abused.
Yeah, nobody can guard Embiid.
And people on Twitter and stuff are like, man, get him out of here. But and your film breakdown of that game, you go, this is one of the reasons they won the game. He strips Embiid. Then he stripped him out further. Embiid was getting the ball. As Aaron, you said so eloquently often, those 6-foot hooks become 8-foot hooks.
Yeah, it's what Brandon Ingram as he gains weight has become so much better at. He's not getting pushed away. And Randle was able to cause trouble for Embiid trying to get into his spots. That's what you're talking about, JJ.
So how does Randle accelerate that quickly as a defender? And I want your answer. I have to tell my friends. We're going to play Price is Right.
I like it.
I like.
Do you have the Bob Barker, the skinny microphone? We're ready to go?
Yeah.
I believe that.
Come on. We got the Plinko out, Corey?
Yes.
And where's the goat?
I'm not Corey, but I see Plinko. I see the board.
BetDSI.com has been in business for over 20 years, and what I like about them is they pay winners. We've come into some winnings.
A time or two.
Maybe there was 11 Thursday night footballs in a row where we went, oh my God, it's
a time or two. Nobody can see this, but JJ is tenting his fingers and doing jazz hands simultaneously.
Excellent. Put in Andrew Bogut. He looks like Gene Hackman.
Release the hounds.
Yes. And then you go to collect, and it takes a while.
It has, yeah.
Not with BetDSI.com. That's why I dig them. A+ rated on sportsbook review sites. You can really do what you want over there. They offer odds on pretty much everything else, all major sports. Politics. There's odds on politics. So if you want to go, all right, who's going to be the next rep for the 33rd district? Come on.
I've got some thoughts. I've got some futures.
Ted Lieu back-to-back.
I know. And can we figure out who's going to be the president 35 years from now? We got futures on that?
A girl. I think
I'm with it. Let's do it.
40 lady presidents in a row.
I'm with it. Let's do it.
We've had 45 dudes in a row.
And if we want to, BetDSI has us covered.
BetDSI will take care of you. The promo code that you're going to want to use is Lakers25 because you get a free $25 wager on the house. 200% extra bonus when you deposit. I speak from experience. This is the place you want to be, friends. BetDSI, betdsi.com. Add some excitement. Watch some garbage game. Take, Buffalo versus Rutgers and go, I can't believe they didn't go for it. Wow, why is he all excited? Lakers 25.
You're excited about BetDSI.
That's right. Just walk around with your BetDSI merch.
We need some more of that. They got to send us some to the underground.
Lakers 25. I thank you for reminding me about the underground, too. Lakers 25 is your promo code. What happens? Pete Zayas joining this Laker Film Room, the best breakdown on earth of Laker film. It's on Twitter and YouTube. Julius Randle, what happens where you go from a bad 6th percentile defender to maybe the best defender on the team?
He got in great shape. I spoke to Mwala Caesar, who's his personal trainer, talked to him for about 45 minutes on my pod, and he really went
after. What's your podcast?
Bring it out there. No, throw it out there.
Laker Film Room podcast.
Throw it out there.
My buddy Darius.
What's that other guy's name?
Darius Soriano. So from Form Blue and Gold.
Yeah.
And
by the way, how dare you not have us as guests on your podcast? Okay.
He will.
Yeah, he will. All right.
I know. Pete's good for him, man.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead.
So
Julius got in shape.
Yeah. Julius got in great shape, and he's playing for a contract, right? He's not the first guy, right, to really get after it and have it all click for him. He's not getting enough minutes probably at this point, but he was a guy that always had the tools. He just needed to click between the ears.
So that was the two-part question, and you answered the positive part of it. Julius Randle, in your opinion, is most responsible for the Laker improvement on defense, which is very interesting and somewhat strange because he doesn't play all that much and he's not a starter. But the Lakers haven't been as good on offense as we thought or hoped. Why not?
No shot creators in the starting lineup. That starting lineup especially is bad on the offensive end. When you look at the bench, they're all right. They're a solid middle of the pack team.
Well, yeah, because they have Clarkson and Julius, right? Yeah.
But yeah, you look at that starting lineup. We've already seen from Lonzo, like he's a shot creator in that Rubio type sense at this point, right? Where he's not going to get his own, but he can set other guys up. Lopez hasn't been great, and he's not getting many minutes and not many touches. You got Nance and KCP is able to score off of screens, but you can't put the ball in his hands and be like,
no. He's not no pick and roll he's not a creator that way.
The only guy that can really do that is Ingram, and he's still a baby that's still learning how to drive and kick. He's a guy half of his shots come with 3+ dribbles, right? So he's able to drive from the perimeter. He's gotten much better at that, but he's not quite able to distribute I drew the second defender. Now I'm going to kick it out to KCP in the corner. And that's fine. He's taken huge leaps, but he's not there yet. So you put all 5 of those guys together, that starting lineup can't score.
It seems like Lonzo Ball has that thing that you're talking about that maybe Brandon Ingram doesn't. You explained to me gravity.
Yes.
Karl Anthony Towns has some gravity.
Yes, how close defenders even other than the guy specifically tasked with guarding you, how closely everybody else has to move towards you, pay attention to you.
The universe, the most mass attracts
Indeed.
The most things. Lonzo Ball, we spoke about this in our bonus episode. That was a lot of gravity going baseline. There were 4 defenders making sure.
At the end of the Philly game, yeah.
At the end of the Philadelphia game, making sure a 6'6" rookie that shoots 1.5% didn't go chock full of nuts and dunk in the baseline to go up by 2.
Yeah. Basically in the game.
Was that an overcommit by the Sixers?
Yeah, that's the value of going early and not calling the timeout and going up against that set defense, right? When the defense is rotating over, all of that's not going through their head, right? They go, oh, that guy's open in the corner, and then when they collapse into the paint when he drives. Had they had time to process all of that, then yeah, maybe they say, hey, Lonzo, shoot that 6-foot floater and see if you can make that. But when you attack early, that's when defenses make mistakes, and that he's able to kick out to Ingram for that.
And we talk about that's why, among other reasons, but that's why Luke has drilled into the heads of the guys, run always. And we talked about it with John Ireland earlier on this podcast, JJ. And John told us if the Lakers aren't running, something is wrong. The reason why you run is because you can always slow it down after that, but you want to see what you can get early and see if you can create a crack, a fissure in the defense, as Lonzo was able to do against Philly and effectively end the game.
I want to tell our guest, Pete Zayas, who does Laker Film Room on both Twitter, YouTube, and his podcast, what Aaron said once. The real solution to all Laker woes is if Kyle Kuzma isn't that good.
Yeah, I mean, because JJ and I, let me explain. But JJ and I always talk about the rotations have been funky, and we don't know who's doing what. And a lot of that is if Kyle Kuzma was as good as a normal 27th pick, there isn't all of this logjam that JJ called. There isn't all of this. We're trying to fit him in there. We're trying to fit him in there, and he's been so good that you have to find time for him. And it is kind of messed with the rotations. If Kuzma wasn't that good and wasn't in need of 30 minutes as he is now, there wouldn't be so many problems. JJ and I always talk about the rotations. It seems to me that Luke is sort of, not entirely, but sort of settling on something that he's kind of liking. It looks like Randall has become the sixth man. He comes in by himself sometimes. Sometimes he comes in with Clarkson with 3 or 4 minutes left in the first quarter. What have you seen, Pete, recently from the rotations? And do you think that Luke is kind of settling on something that he likes?
I think he is. I mean, it's easier to have this conversation after back-to-back wins than maybe a week ago.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
I don't love...
Or maybe it's easier because the rotations were such that they got...
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a really great point, JJ. Maybe it's a chicken and egg thing where now that the rotations have been, maybe they're more settled, which has caused the 2 wins.
Well, what have been the changes?
Nothing will ever get answered if I keep playing that guy. Or maybe it's egg and chicken.
Well,
Sorry.
So what are the differences? You got the starting lineup's been the same, right? Since Nance came back, at least.
Yes.
And you got Josh Hart getting a few more minutes than he was. He was down in the G League for a bit.
Yes.
You got...
And it looks like Bogut only plays
against bigs,
against guys that Luke is afraid are going to eat Randall's lunch early. And Bogut doesn't play much late. It looks like in the first quarter, if Lopez gets in foul trouble, he's afraid to go to Randall against certain really big guys. DeAndre Jordan, Embiid, Gortat. That's a great example, JJ. Gortat, yes.
Uses him against those big bodies. And Bogut's also, even though he's, no threat at all as a scorer, he's able to facilitate. Remember, he's
a really good passer, and he's a great screen setter.
And he knows all of those sets. All of the things that Luke wants to run from the Golden State days, Bogut knows them like the back of his hand. So while he doesn't have the physical ability anymore, he's a bit of that coach on the floor.
Can I point out, JJ, that was not me doing a Warriors reference on this podcast? It is not me.
You beat him to it with Iggy.
Yeah, you're right. I thought I stuck that in.
He's leading
the league in assist to turnover ratio.
When you do Laker film room tape, what's something this year that you said you spot trends and stuff, and you do? What's something this year that after a couple film room sessions, a couple 10-hour grinds, you go, oh, I got to watch this again because I didn't even realize this was unfolding before my eyes? A fresh, fun discovery.
Well, the defense is the first thing, right? That was like a light switch because even in the preseason, they were bad last year.
What game do you go, oh, wait a minute?
It was the middle of the Pelicans game. It was the third game, right? It was halftime. They were getting blown out, down 20. Right. They came in with the second unit in the third quarter, came in early.
The Sepulveda lineup?
And you had...
that was actually, as we call it, the genesis of the Sepulveda lineup. And as, JJ, you and I were watching the game, it was about with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Yep. The Lakers were down, I think, 22 or 23. And you and I, as we were watching the game, said if they can cut it to single digits, we're going to hang out and watch the fourth quarter. And they basically got even with the Pelicans to start the fourth.
Yeah, so that was where the light switch flipped, and they've been closing out like hell to the 3-point line since then. They're pick and roll defense. Weak side has been tagging the big man. And then the other thing, to answer your question, Jay, Jordan Clarkson's been really good this year, and in ways that I did not necessarily know he had in him.
Well, that's going to be passing because statistically, it seems he's been the exact same guy.
He's a lot more efficient, though.
Yeah, but he's shooting a lot better.
Less shots, higher percentage.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's always been a guy. He's always been a guy where he's
always been a bucket getter, but it's been a volume guy.
I always say one of my favorite sayings is sometimes good basketball isn't the presence of great plays, but the absence of bad ones. He's always been a guy that needed to make fewer bad plays, and he's done that by and large this year. He's taking fewer bad shots. He's making fewer bad passes, etc.
So we used to say, everybody who listens to this podcast, Pete, I don't know if you know this, but I used to scout for an NBA team, and we placed a lot of stock in, I don't want to make this is not a LeVar thing, but a stay in your lane thing. Do what you do well, identify what you do well, do that, and stay away from the other stuff. It's a great message for everyone in life, but especially basketball. Identify what you do well, do that, and stay away from the rest.
And I think that's where I think Jordan Clarkson specifically is where Luke's done his best job this year. And the reason being is
Jordan Clarkson does not agree with you. 2 games in a row, he walked past me and said,
well, that's minutes.
What the F am I here for?
That's minutes. No, you're right. You're right in that. But the way that he's been used, just use him more in the same way that you've been using him. But like, for example, they moved into the backup point guard spot, right? And not to get too deep in the weeds, but they
no. By the way,
this is
here,
the show for the weeds.
By the way, here, please get deep in the weeds because normally it's just me chopping away at the weeds. So come on with me. Let's do it.
So the second unit, especially when Jordan's running point guard, they run horns and they run flex motion out of it, right? So
hold on. So
I know horns.
Yeah. So yeah,
2 guys at the top.
Right. So you and I talked about horns the other day.
Yeah.
But explain. You don't have to explain what the sets are, but explain at least the starting points for horns and for flex.
I was just going to explain it.
Please, JJ.
Let's do it, Jay.
I learned
Let's hear it.
Yeah, please.
If you draw a square, it's not quite that. So 2 guys at the top of the key, as if you're about to form one end of a square. And then as you go down towards the basket, they're just further apart than the other guys.
Correct.
I'm not sure what shape that's
It's
called.
2 guys. It's 2 guys at the elbows and 2 guys kind of in the corners.
The listeners don't know what at the elbows means.
On the edge of the free throw line, on the corner of the free throw
Does
line.
everybody know what that means by me? I'm
Yes.
sorry. So it's not the triangle offense. It's actually the square offense.
Yeah, it's a square with the bottom 2 kind of flared out a little bit.
Yes.
And then the 5th guy, you can put wherever you want.
You got him atop. So that's Jordan. That's Jordan there, all right? And so he's going to make the pass to one of those big guys that's standing on the elbow at the corner of the free throw line, right? To put it in English, after he makes that pass, he's going to go set a screen, and then he's going to use a screen. So he's coming off, basically, this is Luke's way of getting Jordan to play point guard without having to make him run an offense. By the time he gets the ball back, he's in an attack position to get a handoff to come off of a screen, but he's coming downhill or he's flaring off of it to spot up for a jumper. They're more shooting guard type actions. So to me, the way they've used Jordan in that respect has been the best thing that he's done this year.
The number 1 scorer on the Lakers is Kyle Kuzma. The number 2 scorer on the Lakers is Jordan Clarkson. The number 6 scorer on the Lakers is Julius Randle. This is the most basic analytic I can come up with. Mm-hmm. In minutes, it starts Kuzma 4th, and then it's 7 and 8. That is odd to me. Do you know of a team that's worked?
No, I was, for a period of time, so did Jordan take over for Ingram as the second highest scorer? He may have in the Charlotte game.
Yeah.
There is, I did research on this because it was odd to me too.
He was too. So
Right.
maybe Ingram passed.
Maybe he
Clarkson.
did, but I know
tweeted
there's
it. It's on the Twitter, everybody.
Yes.
there's never
Go to the Twitter machine.
There's never been a team in NBA history that had their 2 leading scorers coming off of the bench.
And the Lakers have done it 3 years in a row.
Not the 2 leading scorers, but they have had their leading scorer come off the bench.
There have been
Yes.
some teams that have had their
Clarkson,
leading
Yeah,
scorers.
it's
Ben
Clarkson
Gordon in
and Ben
Chicago
Gordon
was a
and
guy.
Jamal Crawford does
But,
it occasionally.
This 3 years in a row, the Lakers
Right.
leading scorers come off the bench. In
Yes.
this case, it's the leading 1 and 2 scorers.
Yeah.
So either they know look, they've forgotten more basketball than we'll ever know.
Absolutely.
Either they have a secret key we're not aware of. If you do that, then, the LA River fills up and we die. Or, Mark Levy said, if you listen to the fans, you'll wind up sitting next to them. Mm-hmm. Number 1 scorer, number 2 scorer, number 4 scorer, 4th in minutes, 6. Why?
I think Luke's got an idea for his particular lineups. He's a guy that puts a lot of stock, and I understand this, but for how do 5 guys perform together? They're not necessarily my 5 best guys, but how does that group perform together? Last year it worked, even though that lineup on paper was awful with Russell, Young, Mozgov, Dang, and Randall. They outscored other teams when they were on the court by about 5 points per 100 possessions. This starting lineup's getting outscored by about 10 points per 100 possessions. Every game.
Early.
Yeah, it hasn't been good.
And so to me, that's when you make the change. That's when you go and just
So what changed? I mean,
Kuzma. Put Kuzma in for Nets. They need guys who can score.
Why not?
And they got minutes and they were good.
Here's what scares me. Here's what
zone?
scares me though. If you do that, I don't disagree with you. But what scares me if you do that is then when the second unit comes in, you look at Jordan Clarkson and it's just Jordan Clarkson free for all.
Well, you got Randall too, right? You still got
yes, but Jordan,
but
but Randall is a guy that functions best playing off of other people. He functions best as a short roller off of pick and roll.
No scores,
Yeah, but they use him on those delays up top, like and elbow series, things like that.
I'm going to unweed here
Yes.
on purpose. Your point is then who's scoring other than Jordan Clarkson in the second unit?
Yes, my
So
point
I'm
is
saying who scores in the first unit other than KCP and Ingram? Like it's six.
Well, but here's the thing.
the
But
other.
then, to take a 30,000-foot view of this, that's the problem with the roster construction in general. There are not enough shooters. There's not enough scorers. If we're looking around and saying the starters can't score, there's
plug
a
that
problem.
hole and another one shows
Hold on a
up.
second.
Yeah.
Pete, real quick. Who between Jordan Clarkson and Alonzo right now? You got to make a lineup. There's a game right now. Who's your starting point guard for the Lakers? Quick! Don't think.
It's Lonzo for political reasons.
That's not what I asked you. You're a basketball coach. I don't want you to be in politics. Who
If
is
I
it?
want to win the games, Clarkson.
Okay, so you got JC. The two guard will keep it KCP. At the three, you have.
Wait, you didn't let him answer. Maybe he wants to start Lonzo at 1 and start Jordan at 2.
That'd actually be my preference, is Lonzo and Jordan together with KCP off of the bench.
I like this.
Whoa.
Now
See,
we're
we're
talking
getting somewhere.
podcast.
You need a point. You need a guard that can run the pick and roll and be a scoring threat off of it. Neither Lonzo nor KCP can do that.
So at the three, you have whom?
Brandon,
Okay. And at the four, you start.
Cruz,
Okay. And you start at the five.
Randall.
My man.
And I would say, you have to guard the other team too, right?
Yeah, but they've
you're
been
the-
better defensively.
You're
too.
the one that's been telling me, Aaron, that the center position is just going down the toilet anyway. Like, what?
Yeah, I
teams
mean
have
the
a center that
traditional
we care about?
center, the traditional back to the
Brook
basket
Lopez
guy.
ain't guarding them anymore.
The traditional back to the basket position is dying off. We just saw Jahlil Okafor got traded for a bag of donuts to Brooklyn and hasn't played in Philly.
Those are good donuts.
They were powdered sugar. They were delicious.
How many NBA centers, that you go, oof, when they come to town if Randall's playing the five?
Right. I mean,
I'm asking you actually to give
how
me
many guys are there that worry me if Randall is guarding them full time? Not a lot. You're right.
The
Not a
other
lot.
thing, zoom back a moment, right? You could also do it the way that the
We're at
Warriors
30,000
do it,
feet,
right?
Pete.
Yeah, we're at the
I know,
30. Yeah,
I know,
right.
What more do we need, right? The Warriors start Zaza, right?
Also, not me giving another Warriors reference. I would like to point that out.
But
Yes.
is Zaza really a starter in it's a 5 minutes
I don't
left in a
think he's
close
an
game?
NBA
No, I mean when the Warriors care, Zaza's not playing.
Right, and so it's like if you need a big dude to bang with another big dude for a few minutes at the start of the first and the third,
Thank you, Alt Droopy.
Alternative lifestyle, droopy bigs are banging big.
Banging bigs.
Oh boy, his name is Zaza.
oh, what have I done?
No, I just
You've done magic. You've
just
only made
walked into
magic.
what we normally do.
Yeah, you've made magic.
So your starting five is Alonzo at the one, Julian Clarkson.
Is Alonzo related to Lonzo? Or is he one of the brothers that's going to play in
No,
Lithuania?
that's the thing. They're not related. Alonzo Bowden is actually related to. That's why I keep saying it.
One of our favorite comics, both you and I.
Alonzo. Well, just call yourself Alonzo then.
I think he should. I think he should. Except all his brothers,
Hamburger. Call him
all
Hamburger.
of the males in the family, their names start with L.
Hamburger.
But I want him to be called Alonzo. In fact, we're going to call him Alonzo from now on.
I'm calling him Alonzo Hamburger. He was a comic, Lonzo Hamburger Jones. Lonzo at the point guard to start. Jordan Clarkson at the 2. Brandon Ingram at 3. Kuz at the 4. Randall at the 5 is Pete Zayas' starting 5. Off the bench, your first guy I'm going to guess is... I'm not going to guess. Who's your first guy? Nance?
Probably KCP.
Oh, duh. Yeah, sorry. I'm not that strong a swimmer.
You got Lopez in there.
Just KCP. Mm-hmm. And then...
Lopez.
Okay.
And Lopez may be the first guy, right, that's off of the bench. But in terms of minutes,
Hopefully
KCP
not.
would get more.
We also got our man Nance. Nance is buried here in your doghouse.
No, I just don't think I like Nance. I think he's a solid
you
player.
humiliated him in your
Right.
last film room. Just spotlight how bad he was.
You know, there's sometimes like I'll hear Luke say, you know, like he's our little, you know, he does little things, and I don't know. I watched the tape pretty closely.
Intangibles, gang.
Yeah, man. And on a team like. He's a guy, he'd be nice alongside a couple superstars because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Right?
Nance?
Yeah.
Nance is the glue guy on a really good championship style team.
Phil Hartman.
Larry Nance is Phil Hartman on
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. I'm guessing. Was he on Saturday Night Live? Yes.
No, in Small Soldier. Yes.
I don't know. They did the thing with him on Simpsons. I don't know.
The thing about Larry Nance...
I'm 40. I'm not 140.
I am. The thing with Nance is you can't take a play off. His energy is off the charts, and he seems to fly once in a while. And my knock on Nance is really non-existent, other than you have to pick a part of the box score and do that all the time. 14 rebounds, no points, 3 blocks, 3 steals. 14 points, no rebounds, no steals, no blocks, fouls out. Like, I got to know what I'm getting. That's why the Randall thing is infuriating, because he's a walking double-double, and he never's not been.
Yeah, and part of the thing is I don't think Nance helps Alonzo that much either, in that what Alonzo does well, he can't get his own shot, but he can create a shot for you. And then Nance doesn't take it. That's the thing. That's probably the thing that gets me to yell at the TV the most. Is when the ball gets moved over to Larry, and he's like, "Somebody take this from me."
Yeah, we talked early on in this podcast about
basketball. Y'all, did you forget a basketball, man?
JJ, you and I talked early in this podcast about Randall unlocking Lonzo as a pick and roll partner.
You brought it up, and I told Pete on the phone that you said early, and we watched it in the Charlotte game and in the Sixers game. You said,
"No, I thought you said that you were all right, Spider."
You said the pick and roll with Julius Randle and Alonzo, with Lonzo Ball, with Antonio.
Yes, all of them.
Ball.
With all the balls and all
that
the A names and L names.
Lonzo's scoring because of the pick and roll, and they finally did it. Didn't really score a lot, but we saw Julius just going to the rack, buddy. Good call, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean...
You've never been wrong, by the way.
Well, every once in a while I'll get one wrong. But Nance just isn't, like... Let's be real about it. He's a garbage man. He's not skilled offensively, and the things that Randall can do as a short roller, as a ball handler, as a finisher out of the pick and roll, Larry Nance just doesn't have in his bag of tricks.
What does Larry Nance do? One word answer for each. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
What does Larry Nance do the best?
Energy.
What does Larry Nance do the best?
Rotate defensively.
That's more than one word. He's cheating.
Rotates one word.
Yeah, and then he put.
Because he didn't think I knew what rotate.
Okay, all right.
Which is a safe bet. So that's not a reason to have more than like 8 minutes a game. Look,
JJ, Larry's a good player. Nance is a good. Nance is a good player.
I agree.
In my opinion, he plays too many minutes for the Lakers. He has too big of a role with the Lakers. He's a good player, but he's a really good 7th, 8th guy.
And like you said earlier about Kuzma not being a normal 27th pick, we're not having this conversation if Kuzma isn't balling out.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
You're right. And if Nance is acting the way where he was drafted, we wouldn't be having it either. But if Nance is that energy guy that you guys are talking about, and that's what Luke wants from Julius Randle, then let Julius Randle play more and have Larry Nance come in, and the moment he dips below 110, then you take him out.
I would like to have a response to that, but I agree with you, so I'm going to be quiet here.
Why can't your response be, I agree with you?
No, I do. I agree with you. Larry Nance should play less, and Julius Randle should play more.
Price is right.
Whether that's starting, finish, whatever that is, Julius Randle should cut into the minutes of Larry Nance. The Lakers would be better if Randle was playing more and Nance was playing less. Period.
Let's play Price is Right after these words.
New York, you know you're number one. So this holiday season, give your loved ones the best. Verizon Unlimited with 4 lines for $40 per line per month. When you've got New York's #1 network, there's nothing you can't do. Share unlimited photos and videos, send unlimited texts, and make unlimited calls with mobile hotspot and 4G LTE data in all 5 boroughs. Enjoy the best unlimited for a great price, because this first-class city doesn't do second-rate gifts. New York, give your friends and family the best. Verizon Unlimited.
Podcast One has new shows on our new app. Check out all the cool features to help you explore our exciting new programming, like America's Lakers podcast with Jay Mohr, Sessions with Randy Jackson, So Random with Corinne Olympios, Attack Each Day, The Harbaugh's podcast, Not Just Sports with Susie Schuster and Rich Eisen, and Sound of Success, the Dick Enberg podcast, as well as your old favorites like The Lady Gang, Steve Austin, Shaquille O'Neal, and Adam Carolla. Get the new Podcast One app in the App Store, Google Play, or podcastone.com.
America's Lakers podcast, live from the underground. This is the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers. There's the gold standard, Aaron.
And there's the purple and gold standard, JJ.
You bet your bippy, buddy. You guys want to play the prices right here?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Now, we've done a few game shows. We did a pyramid where I said things like, I don't remember the names of the guys, like Lawrence Frank. It's just defensive-minded coaches.
Yeah, the last one was...
what was it?
It was guys that... Yeah, okay, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you give it to him.
Taj Gibson. Kyle Kuzma.
Thaddeus
Power
Young.
forwards.
Thaddeus Young.
4-year.
It was even Chris Middleton was on the list. Aaron Gordon was on the list.
Power forwards.
Guys that have more minutes than Julius Randle.
At power forward, yes.
I almost cussed.
Taj Gibson, by the way, is he's going to have his 100th birthday in like the second quarter. Oh my god!
All the minutes he plays, and we're not going to have time today, but we're
we'll get to it. This will be quick.
all right, okay. We are going to get to the Western playoff picture here
because you and I will do it on the next episode as well. Price is Right, gentlemen. You know how the game is played. The last guy can say things like $1.
Yes,
but
closest without going over.
Yeah, but I'm going to eliminate the $1 rule. So you look up there, you see that nice little not sponsored coffee maker right there. So for example, Aaron, you think that coffee maker on the counter over there was how much? Around?
Oh, I think it was $159. JJ,
how much do you think that probably was?
I'm say $129.
I don't know the answer because I didn't buy it. It was here when I moved into everything rented you. So I'll just say, well done, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Now,
I win.
Price is Right. Let me get my long, skinny microphone. How about these Price is Right, ladies? Huh?
I love this. This is my favorite part of it.
Jared.
I like Jared. She is
Julius
beautiful.
Randle to be a Laker next year. You offer. There he is. Hi, Julius. Number 30. There he is. Muscle bound. Not even breaking a sweat.
Worth
Not
more than
playing.
that coffee maker.
Not playing right now. Just kind of hanging around. He'll
Okay.
be in a couple after Gene Hackman comes off.
Yep.
You pay him, Aaron. What are you going to pay for that for next year, 2018, to be a Laker per year? Not how many years.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? What is that? We're all looking at the coffee maker.
And I'm making this decision right now. $1 is my answer.
Wow.
$1.
I don't think that's going to be accurate. I can
I
guarantee.
know. I don't think it's going to be enough to get him. But
What is I'm pretty sure you know what I was saying, right? You give your answer first.
Yeah, I'd say 14.5.
I said 14 first. He said that was too low, so I changed it to 15, and he went, all right, so what do you think is the number?
what number is it going to take to sign him?
That's what we're playing. I think
the
Price is Right.
Sorry, I thought you were saying what number would I give him? What number?
Wait, you wouldn't give him $10 million to be a Laker next year?
No, because I want to see what happens with Paul George and Boogie and LeBron, and I don't want to mess with that flexibility.
Buddy, I took care of it. Somebody's coming in. Don't worry. But they got to come in and play with somebody. They can
I
rebound.
want two guys. What do I take?
Bird in the hand. That's why we're not winning now.
What do I think? But what do I think it will take? I'm going to offer, if I want him to say yes, sign on the dotted line. I think it takes. I'm going to 16. I think it's 16 for Julius.
$14 million. You're going to tell me Julius Randle goes, nah, I'm good, bro.
I think he can probably get more than that somewhere else.
The only thing is there's only like 4 other teams with cap space.
You've said that before. So who
Yes.
are those teams?
So
and do they offer that much money?
market's going to be depressed.
The Mavs are one who will have some room.
Antidepressants the market can take. They don't have to be depressed all the time.
They got to take the Zoloft.
The Mavs could actually max them out. They're kooky.
Yes. So I'm going to offer. Look, if I'm the Lakers right now, I'm not offering, but I think it's going to take 15 or 16 to sign Julius.
How high are you willing to go if you're Lakers? I'm going 15.
Right now, I'm not.
That's the thing. You want him in house next year. So what's the most you give him?
The most I would give him is 15 next year.
You the most.
16.5.
You might want to walk that back to 15 because I got the numbers. You're going to be very happy with it. All right, gentlemen. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Next year, if he's a Los Angeles Laker, you will not pay a dime over.
I will not pay a dime at all.
You don't want him.
I will. I think that.
Stop thinking about the idea of other dudes that aren't here right now. If you want him to be a Laker, how much money are him and his agent going to go? That is actually.
If you want him to be a Laker next year, if you're willing to offer him more than just this year, I think you can probably get him for, 4 years, 14 or 15 million. 4 years, 60 maybe total. So 15 a year, 4 years, 15 a year.
Well, I'm not paying him more than this year because this year, when I give you $18 million and you average 12 points, sorry. Look at the guys making 18 mil. They, do so. And I like the guy a lot. What do you pay for KCP to stay?
I don't give him more than the room exception. That's like $4.4 million or something.
Damn, no love for the guys they've earned.
Right. I mean,
He's just a guy. You don't
I
spend
agree.
your
I agree
money
with
on
Pete.
He's just a guy.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you. I agree with Pete. I'm not bringing him back at all.
I don't disagree, but this is the guy that was called manna from heaven. If you remember, I go, he's manna from heaven because to enjoy it, you have to be starving.
Yes. Look, JJ, you're right about that. But the reason why he was manna from heaven this year, he's a decent 3-point shooter. He's not great. He's decent. He's not even really good. He's decent, and he's a pretty good perimeter defender, which were both problems. And he was willing to sign for just this year.
And you never thought you were going to have a chance at him in the first place.
Which is exactly what the Lakers need.
Bad move by his part, I think.
Well, I mean, he explored options elsewhere, and if he was going to get a bunch of years and more money, he would have obviously taken those opportunities. But what we can ascertain from him accepting 1 year, $18 million, is that that was the best offer he could get.
And that's what they tried to get Rob Pelinka's client. Oh, jeez, he went to Miami. And he actually turned his back to
Dion Waiters.
Dion Waiters saying no to Rob Pelinka. Is that something to be concerned about?
No,
he just got more money.
No, you don't. No, you don't want. You do not want Dion Waiters in the long-term Laker plans.
That's another point.
No, it's a 1 year deal, just like KCP, and he said no, thank you.
Well, yeah, because he got more years.
Yeah, he got 4 years from Miami.
Aaron asked me to go 1 year, and I can get more money elsewhere with more years. That's my guy.
So if you got a choice between, I don't remember what Waiters got, but say the same deal that KCP got, if that would have gone to Waiters, if you're Waiters, do you choose that versus 3 and what did he get?
You're asking if I accept $17.7 million to work from September to March?
Yeah,
yes.
Versus 50. Versus 50 over 3 years.
I'll always bet on myself.
Yes to all of that?
I'll always bet on myself.
So to have that 1 year, I'll be a free agent again, and you're going to want back to that.
If then
I can dig that. I can respect that.
Who cares? I'll go someplace and get a ring.
I can respect that.
All right. So Julius Randle, shooting percentage, not taking threes into account.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, you've gone first each time. Where, unless you know it by heart already, in the NBA, where is he ranked? I guess just 2
Are we talking about his percentile or his shooting percentage now?
Not including threes. His field goal percentage, just twos. He is where in the NBA of every player in the NBA?
I'll say 10th.
Aaron?
I will say he's in the single digits, so I don't know if that's higher or lower, but I'm going to say he's ninth to undercut Pete.
It's definitely lower if 10 is his answer.
Yeah, I think he's doing better than 10th. So I'll say ninth.
Ninth. You're both right there. But we've one champion. It's his podcast, buddy. I'm sorry, Pete. I love your Laker film room stuff. DeAndre Jordan, but whatever. Clint Capella again.
Yeah, that's all the roles and dunks he's getting from Harden.
Well, what the heck is poor Julius Randle going to do when Clint Capella comes to town if he plays the five? Come on. Steven Adams, Ryan Anderson, LBJ, the president, then LeBron. No, LeBron, Enes Kanter, Serge Ibaka. Collins was a weird one, right?
Oh, from Portland? Who's
Jones,
barely playing.
Collins.
Yeah, he hasn't played a ton of games.
Yeah, he was barely playing, yeah.
And then Julius Randle at 9. Well done.
Nice.
Let's talk about the West real quick, and we'll bring it on home. We got, look, the Knicks game was last night. We recorded this on a Monday night, and we'll recap it quickly. Don't you worry. If you look at this, can the Lakers make the playoffs this year?
At this point, no.
What do you mean at this point? It's 23 games, 24 games.
No.
Why? What do you mean at this point?
Well, they're 10 and 15 already. That's already written, right?
Okay, but what would have to happen? What is at this point? A serious question, buddy. And I'm really glad you're here. And anybody listening, go check out Laker Film Room on YouTube and on Twitter. At this point, is a unit of time, a unit of progression as talent goes, a unit of rotations. What?
It's a schedule. I'll say this: if they can go 500 or close to it throughout December, they've got a shot at the 8th seed because the 8th seed is lower. Right? The 8th seed is lower than it's ever been before. But there's a stretch. It's like Golden State, Houston, Golden State.
It's Cleveland, Golden State, Houston, Golden State.
I think the 86 Celtics.
Right. The 72 Lakers.
72 Lakers.
Right.
I think that's their schedule throughout the rest of the
When do they get to play the 5 of us?
Mo Cheeks and Dr. The 5 of
Who
us.
had the 83 76ers, yeah.
No.
I mean, I don't think.
But the schedule's been the West has been the West. So at this point, I want to nail down here. What do you mean at this point? Oh, like they had to win Sacramento.
Yeah, they had to have been right. Had they gone through that little stretch of Sacramento, the Clippers, I think they've dug themselves too far of a hole.
The Phoenix loss,
right? Things like that. They should if they were around 13 and 12 right now.
Yeah.
I think you got a shot at it.
Aaron says no as well, right?
No, I think that ship has sailed. Now, JJ, I agree with you. As we briefly talked about in our last episode, and we teased that we're going to talk about. I think that there are some teams presently in the top 8 that
I'm doing right here,
that may not remain there. I just don't know that the Lakers can stack enough wins, especially as the schedule gets really tough here in December.
Yeah, but then there's a January.
There and a February, yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, is that?
That's the way it works. Yeah.
With Sean May, Arizona. January, February, March, April. All right. Rockets, Warriors, Spurs. That's just set. That we're good. And I don't think the Warriors are going to be butthurt if they stay at 2. I would be surprised if they stayed at 2. But I'd also be surprised if the Rockets cooled off.
Right. Yeah, I would say that out of the top 3, the Rockets, Warriors, and Spurs in the top 3, that's it.
Yeah, but Spurs ain't going to 1. We know that.
I don't think so.
And so I'll keep this 3 is immovable, right? 4, Timberwolves not making the playoffs.
You don't think the Timberwolves are making the playoffs?
Let's look at minutes played last night.
Yeah,
you can't play Karl Anthony Towns, Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins. You can't play, Jimmy Butler. These guys are playing 40.
Yeah, I mean, look, and it's catching up with them because statistically, analytically,
in Minnesota,
they are the worst team in the NBA in the fourth quarter.
In the NBA history of it.
NBA history of ever. This year, the Timberwolves they're the worst team in the NBA in the fourth quarter. And the question is that because Thibodeau is playing them too many minutes and they just break down and wear down in the fourth quarter? Defensively, they're the worst team in the NBA in the fourth quarter. Offensively, they're pretty ordinary. So by net rating,
tell me Jimmy Butler can't close.
I am gonna tell you that Al Pacino when he plays 41 minutes a night. I am gonna tell you that.
Well, maybe they're bad in the fourth quarter.
I think they're bad in the fourth quarter. I mean, I think the question is, are they bad in the fourth quarter because they're just playing too much and they wear down, they're tired. I think the Timberwolves are going to make the playoffs just because of how much talent they have, but I don't think they're going to remain in the 4th seed, JJ.
Jimmy Butler popped off our last episode that you and I spoke about.
Yeah.
We missed you very much, 5-5-42. Unhappy with his minutes under Tom Thibodeau. It's a 3-minute increase from when he was getting played into the ground in Chicago, 37-40. Next game against the Mavs, everybody else is cruising about 36, 34, 38. Butler, 41.
Yeah, I mean, the Mavs.
41.
The Mavs.
That's Tom Thibodeau saying, you don't like the minutes.
It is. It's and the other thing you got to understand about Thibodeau is not only does he run his guys into the ground with minutes during the games, but whatever team he coaches, in this case Minnesota, they also practice more and harder than anybody in the league. So that's his thing. He runs guys into the ground. And they also don't play a lot of guys. They play their starters. They play Gorgie Jang. They play Jamal Crawford. Gorgie Jang. They play Jamal Crawford. They don't play. I mean, they don't. They also don't play. Zayas plays a little bit, but they also, in addition to playing their starters so many minutes, it's not like they're playing a bunch of other guys. They only play a few guys off the bench, and it's Thibodeau's thing, and he's going to die on that hill. It's not changing.
Back in the day when they beat when the Phoenix Suns beat them by 8 points. I'm going to pick a bigger blowout than this. So Phoenix Suns win 18. Timberwolves won 10 on the road in Phoenix. Jimmy Butler played how many minutes?
40. 39.
Yeah, it was 40.
Like he always plays.
40.
Yeah.
Wiggins 38. Towns 39. How do these guys... I don't want anybody to get injured. How do these guys not get hurt?
Yeah, I mean... Well, once upon a time,
Keep it up, Tom. Doing a good job, Tommy.
Once upon a time, that was the norm in the NBA, right? It was for your best guys to go for 38 to 40. It's more, obviously, it's more unusual.
They also wore gold
days.
chains and smoked on the bench.
Right,
anyway, gang.
But so I think they're going to accumulate enough wins to get to the playoffs. They're probably going to be dragging at the finish line, and if they do make the playoffs, they're probably not going to make a lot of noise as a result of that. But I think between now and then, they're going to rack up enough wins to get there.
All right. I don't think so.
They also need Karl Anthony Towns to decide he cares about playing defense, but
yes.
that's another conversation.
So
who are the teams? If you're saying the Lakers are going to make it,
there,
the teams that are in now. Do you are you in the OKC is going to make it camp, or
of
you're?
Course they are. I mean,
okay.
we don't. I mean, they.
So if it's OKC and the Lakers,
there's no meshing and
so
no
if Oklahoma City and the Lakers, who are not playoff teams now, if they make it, they're 9th and 10th. If they make it, the two teams you're taking out, Minnesota and who else, JJ?
I'm taking out the Nuggets. I'm taking out the Timberwolves.
The Nuggets besieged by injuries.
I'm taking 3 teams out.
Oh,
I'm putting OKC up there.
Yep.
I mean, you might have you and I didn't see this coming. We thought the 41-41 Trailblazer team last year was a complete statistical outlier.
Right.
I'm looking at a couple teams around 500 making 7 and 8. Don't know.
No, yeah, I think, well, the West and the back half of the West especially has not been as good this year. So I think 500 or close to there is going to make the playoffs this year.
If you asked America, you said the Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets, and the Houston Rockets. One's 21-4, one's 12-14, and one's 14-12. 21-4 or 14-12. Everybody's taking the Oklahoma City. Nobody thinks the Oklahoma City Thunder are this bad.
No, I mean, their roster construction is a little funny, and it is borne out that way. But I agree with you. I think they'll figure it out and make the playoffs.
Which one of these teams slide? I think Portland goes way up from 6 here. I just think they're too damn good. I love Terry Stotts as a coach and as a lover. Nuggets, they're not going to be there.
It depends on Millsap's out a long time.
Everything depends on everything.
Yeah, right.
Everything depends on everything. But you play guys 40 minutes a night over and over and over and over and over. It's something's got to give, right?
Yes. No, I agree with that.
I look at that top 8, and I put OKC in place of the Pelicans, and I think otherwise it stays roughly the same. I think Portland moves up a spot.
Portland tops out at a 5?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. And Minnesota Timberwolves stay at 4.
Oh, no, that's a good point. No, you're right. I'll go with the 4. I'll go with Portland at the 4 seed. Probably Minnesota at the 5. I think OKC gets up to 6. I think
the Lakers are 7 if they can decide these are the guys we're playing now because we want to get into the playoffs now. But then what? To lose to the Warriors? Oh, sure. Yeah. I want local
Absolutely.
revenue.
I would love that.
We're not the Suns. It's not Sean McDonough.
Yeah.
Lakers podcast by America. That's why it's called, Aaron.
It is America's Lakers podcast.
It's the official podcast of the Los Angeles Lakers. You really squeezed us in here.
And thank you, Pete.
Zayas, and I'm thrilled
about it.
Had
a great time. Thank you.
This is a Wednesday. If you're listening to it right when it comes out, subscribe, rate, review, tweet
that.
your photos of your rates and reviews.
Yes.
And what are your rates?
They're very high, but no matter what it is, JJ and I, we will retweet you, and we thank you.
No matter what you do out there, just tweet us what your rate is. Apropos of nothing, and watch how funny that gets, how quickly.
My rate is $350.
Wow, buddy.
I don't even know what that means.
Take it out on the next guy. I've been using you for 15 years.
No, now it's $450.
But I brought my own tiles.
All right, it's $150.
All right, buddy, you're hired.
And that's $75.
There's the gold standard, and there's the purple and gold standard, friends. Let's play some basketball.
Thanks for listening to America's Lakers Podcast with Jay Mohr, exclusively on Podcast One Sportsnet. New episodes every Wednesday on PodcastOne.com, the Podcast One app, or subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
New York, you know you're number 1. So this holiday season, give your loved ones the best. Verizon Unlimited with 4 lines for $40 per line per month. When you've got New York's number 1 network, there's nothing you can't do. Share unlimited photos and videos, send unlimited texts, and make unlimited calls with mobile hotspot and 4G LTE data in all 5 boroughs. Enjoy the best unlimited for a great price because this first-class city doesn't do second-rate gifts. New York, give your friends and family the best. Verizon Unlimited.